There, yeah. Debilitated.
All right, I'd like to call this June 19th, 2014 Cookeville City Council meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Anderson.
Present.
Councilman Woodford.
Present.
Mayor Swallows.
Here.
Vice Mayor Epps.
Here.
Councilman Albright. Here. All present.
Thank you. It's all right. We're all here.
Sorry.
That's all that matters.
That's it.
Nothing.
Okay.
Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Straighten up.
Thank you. Pledge
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right. Item 1, consider approval of agenda as presented. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
I'll vote.
5 yes votes. Motion carries.
You'd think we'd done this before.
Stage fright.
I think it's just a big crowd.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
All right, item 2, consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on June 5th, 2014. Can I get approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
I'll vote.
5 yes votes. Motion carries.
All right. Item 3, hold a public hearing and consider on second and final reading Ordinance 140608, providing a tax levy for the 2014-2015 fiscal year. Sponsors Mr. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, this ordinance does establish the tax levy for the city of Cookeville for 2014. There's been no changes since first reading. The tax levy would be 90 cents, and that's allocated with 79 cents to the general fund, 6 cents to the debt service fund, 4 cents to economic development, and 1 penny to our quality of life fund. And I'd recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments from council? Seeing none, I'll vote.
5 yes votes. Motion carries.
All right, item 4, hold a public hearing and consider on second and final reading Ordinance 140609, authorizing appropriations for financial aid to public service, nonprofit, and charitable organizations for the 14 and 15 fiscal year. Sponsors Mr. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, there has been one change to the appropriations for the nonprofits that I'd like to point out to you. That changed since first reading. It deals with the appropriations for the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber would be appropriated $130,000 in total, and that's on first reading that was $105,000. So it would be $130,000 in total. That's broken down and allocated in 3 different ways. $30,000 goes directly to the Chamber. There's $50,000 that's allocated to the Sports Council, and that comes from our Economic Development Fund. And then the change is directly related to the Highlands Initiative. On first reading, it was allocated at $25,000. Second reading is proposed at $50,000. So the total is a $25,000 change from first reading. So it would be a $130,000 appropriation in total to the chamber. $30,000 for the chamber directly, $50,000 for the Sports Council, $50,000 for Highlands Initiative. And that would make the total award to nonprofits of $739,855. There's been no other changes to the awards for nonprofits other than that. And I'd recommend approval.
I have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments from the council? Seeing none, I'll vote.
5 yes votes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 5, hold a public hearing and consider on second and final reading Ordinance 140610, making appropriations for the various funds and departments and agencies of the City of Cookeville for the 14 and 15 fiscal year. Sponsors Mr. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, just to point out, there's a couple of changes. The awards to the nonprofits, that affects the general fund slightly and the economic development fund in terms of appropriations. So I just want to point those out to you. The general fund will receive a $100,000 transfer from the Economic Development Fund. In first reading, that was proposed at $75,000. So that increases the $25,000 that's directly related to the nonprofit award for the Highlands Initiative. So the general fund will receive a $100,000 transfer from Economic Development Fund. That's going to give the total revenue and transfers into the general fund of $24,626,123. First reading, that number was $24,601,123. So we have $25,000 additional revenue transfer coming into the general fund, and that's going to be allocated as you previously approved for nonprofits, that additional $25,000. And that nonprofit number originally was $714,855 in first reading. It's now $739,855. That's proposed for second reading. That's going to make total general fund appropriations for fiscal year 14-15 of $25,124,000 and $25,124,547. And on first reading, it was $25,099,547. So what that's going to do to the general fund, doesn't change the general fund. That $25,000 was additional revenue coming into the Economic Development Fund. When you look at the fund balance for the general fund, it's still proposed to decrease that fund balance $498,000, leaving us with $8.2 million fund balance at the end of June 30th of 2015. Now, in addition, the other change related to all this is in Economic Development Fund. The Economic Development Fund will appropriate an additional $25,000 to the general fund, that transfer. So the total transfer to the general fund from economic development is $100,000 in total. And that $100,000, again, is used for nonprofits directly to the Chamber for the Highlands and the Sports Council. So the total transfer, $100,000 to the general fund, total appropriations now in economic development is $1,302,181, and that's been the only changes to the appropriations in all the funds is directly related to that $25,000. There's been no other changes in any of the other funds, and I'm going to spare you going through all those slides that I had last time, and would recommend approval of this budget. In total for the city of Cookeville, including CRMC, there's $415,382,140 that's appropriations for all the departments, including CRMC. And I'd recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
That's your job.
Yeah, appreciate all the work.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. Appreciate all the work you've done.
Who's writing that $400 million? You signed that check?
Sure. All right, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Davidson. All right, on to new business. Item 6, hold a public hearing and consider on first reading ordinance 140506, annexation and zoning of 1.3 acres located on the northwest corner of Summerfield Road and Fisk Road, and resolution 140510, adopting plan of services for the same area. Sponsor is Mr. James Mills.
I was hoping you would read slower.
Sorry.
Got all that. You get all that?
Mayor and council members, this ordinance would annex and establish the zoning for property consisting of approximately 1.3 acres located north of the current corporate limits along Summerfield Road at its northwest intersection with Fisk Road. It's identified as parcel 6 on map 40D Group A of the Putnam County tax maps, and it's located entirely within the Cookeville urban growth boundary. The annexation proposal was initiated at the request of the property owner, Mr. Donnie Meadows, and because it was requested by the property owner, we have a written petition, and because it was within the urban growth boundary, we can proceed with annexation by ordinance under the current legislation. His petition for annexation also included a request for the establishment of RM8 multifamily residential zoning. This is the general location. You've worn it out, Mike. Now here it comes. This is supposed to be the proposed zoning, so RM8. And here's an aerial view of the property. As you can see, it consists of one parcel. There are no residents currently located on the property. Access is from Summerfield Road, which is an existing city street. This proposal does not include any additional portions of Fisk Road, so Fisk Road from Shadrack north would not be included. Water and natural gas service are available and are provided to the area by the city. No additional hydrants are necessary to serve the tract. Public sewer service is nearby on Fisk Road, and the property owner has indicated that he will incur the cost to connect to the system. The parcel is within the electric service boundary of UCEMC, and they will continue to provide electrical service. We do have street lights already in place along Summerfield Road. Based on the current property tax assessment before development, we would expect a revenue of $56.25 as a result of annexation. As I noted, Mr. Meadows has requested RM8 multifamily zoning for the purpose of constructing apartments on the property. Under RM8 zoning, it's 5,000 square feet per dwelling unit. This property consists of approximately 56,600 square feet, so a maximum of 11 dwelling units could be located under the property on RM8 zoning. The planning services provides as follows. Police protection will begin upon the effective date of annexation. Fire protection will also begin upon the effective date of annexation. Water services are already available and will be provided at city rates upon the effective date of annexation. Sanitary sewer is adjacent to the area, and as I noted earlier, the property owner has agreed to incur the expense to connect to an existing line located on Fisk Road, and upon completion of the connection, he will be provided sanitary sewer at city rates. Solid waste collection will be provided within 30 days after the effective date of annexation. Streets, there are no new streets included in the annexation area. Inspection services will begin upon the effective date of annexation. Planning and zoning jurisdiction of the city will extend to the area upon the effective date of annexation, and the ordinance again includes establishing zoning, which will be RM8 multifamily residential. Residents of this area would have access to all city recreational facilities. And as I noted, under electric service, it would continue to be served by the co-op, and we have street lighting already in place along Summerfield Road. And finally, natural gas service is available to the annexed area and will be provided at city rates upon effective date of annexation. The proposed annexation, the establishment of RM8 zoning, and the planning services have been approved by the Planning Commission and are recommended by the Planning Department.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Got a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments from the council?
Have there been any phone calls?
Yeah.
No, we've had no calls on this. And we did, just for your information, I did contact the adjoining property owners on this side and on this side, inquire if they would interested in being included in this, and we did not receive a response from them. We would have had to have petitions from them, but as far as I know, they're not interested.
Any questions, comments? All vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Item 7, consider on first reading ordinance 140611, amending the Cookeville Municipal Code, Title 12, Chapters 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Title 7, Chapter 2, relative to adopting the 2012 International Building Codes. Sponsor is Mr. Jeff Littrell.
Mayor and City Council, this ordinance will adopt, if adopted, will adopt the 2012 building codes. Currently, we have adopted the 2006 International Building Code and various building-related codes. We also have the 2002 North Carolina Accessibility Code, the 1997 Standard Housing Code, and the 1985 Building Abatement Code. Tennessee Code Annotated 68-120-101 states that a local government building construction safety code must be within 7 years of the latest published code. Currently, the 2015 International Code has been released, and so we do not fall within this within 7 years. The proposed building codes will be the 2012 International Building Code, building-related codes, and the 2010 American with Disabilities Act Accessible Design Code. The North Carolina Code no longer exists, so we have to adopt this code. In our building code, the residential section, R13.2, requires an automatic sprinkler system to be installed in single-family homes. I'm proposing an amendment to that the section R313.2 is amended to that in a single-family detached that's defined by our zoning code will not require an automatic fire sprinkler system. but two-family duplexes and single-family attached will require a fire sprinkler system. This is an example of the single-family detached. Sits on one lot. You have setbacks between the other houses. This is a duplex, or can be called a single-family attached. 2 units on one lot. A new construction will require an automatic fire sprinkler system. Also in Title 12, there's some name changes. Our housing code no longer exists. It's now called the Existing Building Code. And then Chapter 6, the Unsafe Building Code, is now called the Building Maintenance Code, and with adopting the new codes. I'd like to ask that this ordinance takes effect January 1st, 2015. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Littrell. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments from the council?
So,
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Littrell, this is basically housekeeping, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Just to make sure that we're up to date and
Right.
doing what we're supposed to do.
Right, and the only real change, right now, 3 or more units require a fire sprinkler system. This would take it to where 2 or more units
Yeah,
will require it.
duplexes.
Right,
Okay. For new buildings.
for new buildings, yes. Additions or remodels will not require it.
Okay.
Mr. Is the local construction building community been reached out and communicated with?
Yes, sir. I've talked to the Home Builders Association, met with the Board of Directors, and then supported this change within this amendment.
During our work session, you had explained to us why we were not going with the 2015 codes at that time. Would you want to just do a quick explanation on that so that others that are seeing this can
Sure.
know?
The 2015 codes has just now been issued and been available for the public. A lot of times there's a corrections, additions, and misspelled words and things, and so you really don't want to adopt it when it first comes out. Also, we're going from the 06 to the 12, and so there's the 09s in between. There was a lot of changes between the 6 and 9, but there's significant changes, like relating to span tables, wood span tables, also some insulation requirements. So we would like to go with the 12 right now, and then probably in 2 years maybe go to the 15. So,
Thank you.
It's kind of like Microsoft, just let them work the bugs out.
yeah. And that's what's happening. XP is not available, so
Yeah.
some of our old codes are not available anymore.
All right, anything else? All right, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Littrell. Item 8, consider approval to purchase 156, 164, and 170 West 1st Street by the Gas Department. Sponsors Mr. Jeff Mills.
Mayor and council, the gas department is requesting approval to purchase 3 properties adjacent to the property we're now currently on. The properties are 156 and 164 West 1st Street, which are owned by Richard Selby and currently used as a cab company and a vehicle storage area. The third property is located at 170 West 1st Street, is owned by G. Montgomery, and it contains a 2,100 square foot building on the property right now that we currently intend on using. As the use of our training facility has increased over the years through the city functions, we suffer from the ability to safely park the vehicles. They're up and down the road and blocking signs the best we can do. So what we're planning on doing is using these lots, 2 of these lots for parking, and using one lot as a storage building. Here's an aerial view of it that kind of shows in relation to where the lots are located in relation to our building. The price negotiations for the 2 lots owned by Mr. Selby, which are the 2 lots closest to our building, has been negotiated as a total price of $130,000. And the lot that is owned by Ms. Montgomery we've agreed upon a price of $90,000 for that lot and building. This just kind of shows a street view looking west from our building down through there. The cab company currently being the white building, fence around it, the vacant lot. This building here is the building owned by Ms. Montgomery. Like I said earlier, we're intending on keeping this building and making a storage facility out of it and possibly running some of our operations out of it. We're going to do some welding fabrication in this building and stuff, so it will be maintained. This shot here just kind of is an east view. It kind of shows in relation where these two lots lay compared to where our facility is currently. And here's a summary of the purchase request. The two lots adjacent to us, owned by Richard Selby, currently used as a cab company. Our proposed use is to remove the current structure and use all of those two lots for parking areas, combined cost of $130,000. The other building and lot owned by Miss Montgomery, 170 West 1st Street. Current use for it is currently vacant right now. It's been a variety of things over the years, but we're going to utilize the building storage and operations. That cost is $90,000 with a total purchase price of $220,000, and we did have this money appropriated in this budget to be used for this cost. And I recommend your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments from the council?
I agree with parking.
Thank you.
You need it.
All vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9, consider awarding bids for transformers and cable. Sponsors, Electric Department, Mr. Tony Peak.
Mayor and Council, got several bids involving transformers and wire, and I wasn't sure exactly what order you might have had those in, but hopefully I'll get it straight here. The first bid tab is for 112.5 kVA pad-mounted transformers. We're looking to purchase 2 of those. The low evaluated bidder would be Power Supply. The next bid notice, bear with me please, is for 15 kVA overhead style transformers and 25s. Again, Power Supply is the low evaluated bidder, meeting specifications. The next bid is for some 50 kVA pad-mounted transformers and 75 kVA pad-mounted transformers. Once again, Power Supply is the low bidder, meeting specifications. Going the wrong way here.
We got books in front of us. We can...
I'm not sure what's going on with the
Are you missing a
slideshow.
page? Or is he just doing that on its own?
Yes, it is. Next item on the, I hope it's the one you have. We're additionally buying 2 types of underground cable. The 500 copper underground primary cable, 8,000 feet. That's for our substation, West Substation project. And it's pretty expensive. It's a huge size cable. Recommend Stuart C. Irby as a low bidder, meeting specs at $104,480 for that cable. And the 1/0 primary underground cable, we're looking to buy about 10,000 feet of that. That's just for normal underground distribution cable, and I'd recommend HD Utility Supply as a low bidder, meeting specifications. And I hope I covered all the bid tabs, and I'd recommend your approval on this.
Yeah, it looks like you did. We can follow along in our books. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments by the council? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peak. All right, this is the part of the meeting where we open the floor to anyone that wants to come forward and speak. Just ask that you please keep it to 3 minutes if possible.
Mayor,
Yes.
might want to announce that we're moving our July 3rd meeting till June 30th.
Okay.
At
Our
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
Yeah.
We are moving our regularly scheduled first meeting of the Thursday of every month, which is be July the 3rd. We're going to move that back to the Monday, June the 30th at 4 o'clock.
Just that July 3rd meeting.
Just that meeting.
Yeah.
Just basically just that next meeting.
Yeah, there will be no work session. I mean, the
We're going to combine the work session and the
council
meeting together.
4 o'clock, is it 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, so get your tickets early.
Yeah, there's a big demand for them.
All right, anything else?
No comments other than every time I walk my dog and go into Dogwood Park, I really appreciate that the city of Cookeville had the foresight and the will and the desire to put that park where they did. It's just fabulous, wonderful.
And it's kept up so well. It's
And
beautiful.
it is. It's beautiful. The bathrooms are always clean, and it's just great. Love having it.
Anything else?
I might have one interesting question.
Yes, sir. Would you mind coming forward so they can hear
What I
you?
have on my platform, gimmick, I guess you'd call it, is would Cookeville support a community pool? And the one that we have, from what I'm hearing, is a little bit too small. And we have a lot of mothers that drive to McMinnville with their children. And I just wondered if there has ever been any thought of expanding or doing something, and knowing full well that it would be a heavy liability on the city.
Well, it's a. We looked at it actually several years ago.
Okay.
And actually went to McMinnville and looked at that, and it is a fine facility.
It sure is.
Estimates at that time to build that were, I think, $2.4 million.
Okay.
That's been, where does it fit in the priority of things? But yeah, it's been talked about a lot. In fact, we were talking about it tonight for the council.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Well, it just seems like it would be.
property and, yeah.
It seems like it would be something that would really be nice. If we've got people driving to
I
McMinnville,
agree.
Yeah.
it would be something to consider, but again, that's a lot of money, but
Mr. Klein, the success, I think, who was it, Jim, you were telling us, or maybe it was Rick that was telling us that about 500 people enjoy that park every day, and that water fountain feature is...
oh yeah, that's a big deal.
Not particularly made for water amusement.
Yeah.
That says, that's certainly, this council, that's gathered our attention.
Yeah.
So much so that we're having conversations on that right now.
Good.
Of course,
Okay.
as you just mentioned, liabilities, with lots of things to consider, but we're having those conversations.
That's a big deal, I'm sure. The liability's got to be
Huge.
steep.
It's been fun to see where.
But, we could have Swallow's insurance covered at a little better price.
It's the money more than anything else
Yeah.
right now.
Money and
The
location.
money and where
for
to
the
put it.
pool.
Where to
Yeah,
put it.
The money to build it.
Yeah.
But thank you for your concern. All right, anything else? All right. This meeting is adjourned.